Hello guys and welcome to Watching Time. Today we are going to discuss the inevitable. Inevitable because as most people that follow the channel, you know me, I couldn't resist the temptation to have a holy trinity here in terms of Explorer inspired watches style. So yeah, we had a brief chat a couple of days ago about the new release of Tudor, the new Ranger. Um, I was really enthusiastic, especially because I am a fan of the Ranger. It's one of my favorite Tudor models, and when I heard it was going to be discontinued, I was among the ones that was actually quite sad for the news. Obviously, this is the past history of Tudor. It's part of the heritage line that they call. It's still some of the ETA movements in that Tudor started using, obviously modified, and obviously the prices were cheaper at the time. So it's part of the past history of Tudor before they went into the in-house movements. And this is really interesting because when they took it out of the catalog, obviously it needed a revamp, even if it's kind of a perfect watch. You can see it here next to its younger brother. Um, Probably this one is one of the best NATO straps, but they really did a very nice work doing the actualization for 2022, bringing it back to the in-house movement. So definitely this is something we're going to be discussing. And here you have the late brother at this point, the Explorer 39, one of my favorite Explorers ever. I am not a guy of 36, 34 millimeter watches. I have an 18 centimeters wrist. It's not small, it's not big either. Actually, my wrist can be seen as quite thin, uh, but it's still an important wrist, and I just don't like. I can't permit myself to have and wear a 36, but it's not my style. It's something that I don't do. So the 39, it's my favorite. I love it. I think it was the perfect size for Rolex, for the Explorer. Um, and I understand people that love the 36. I'm not going to go into that. I think Rolex did a mistake taking out the 39. So definitely Tudor, as they are doing now with for example, the Black Bay Pro, they are going into the market of things that Rolex is taking out, and they are filling the gaps. And this is the clear example. Bringing back the icon, bringing back the Ranger that has a parallel history that was born with the Explorer, uh, but bringing it back into a modern size, filling the gap that the 39 left. And actually you can see it here, guys. It is a twin brother. Whatever you want to put it, it has its own style. Obviously it has its own vibe, but it's a twin brother nonetheless. So for me it's nice to have both as a collector. Definitely interesting. We have, and I'm going to be talking about the bracelet, is superb. What you're getting for your money here from Tudor, it's just fantastic from my point of view. So a little bit of the history behind. Obviously, you all know that the Rolex Explorer was born from Rolex supporting the Everest expeditions, and it was around the 53. Around the same time, Rolex was also supporting other Queen's expeditions to other areas where extreme climate was being seen, like for example Greenland. So Tudor was a sponsor of that expedition, and it's probably the first Ranger iteration that we will see during that period. And we're talking more or less the same year. So obviously, most people don't know because they all say, even the publicity that Tudor was doing around Greenland expedition, blah, blah, we all expected a Ranger, but the Ranger that they proposed at that time was more of a dress watch than a tool watch. So it's really different to what we are seeing today in the more modern iterations. Obviously, there was a reference in the late 50s, 60s that was a resemblance to the Explorer. So it was Tudor following the steps of the Explorer Rolex, but it's the latter iteration of the Ranger. The original one, it was more of a dress watch. It didn't have the Arabic numbers, and it was much more elegant and less tool watch. So anyways, we go back to the original Ranger. Let's put the first Ranger. This is almost a photocopy. The only difference was the size. It was a 34. Here we have a 39. So we have definitely a step up respect to what original it was, but you have it in a modern size watch. You are filling the gap here. This 39 is perfectly filling the gap. And the gap that the Explorer 39 left. I really wish I had another Explorer at the time so I could buy a second one. I just love the 39. The 36, no way, especially the gold one. I hate that. I don't know why they did that. Anyway, so let's go back to the Ranger. I already had the Ranger. This is a 41 millimeters. This is a watch that was born from the Heritage Collection to fulfill a tool watch scenario, and it did it perfectly. I have it here in the NATO strap, but I also have the band strap in leather. It's fantastic. It's probably one of the most special Tudors. You rarely see that type of military band leather strap on a watch, and they did it here with the Ranger. This NATO camouflage strap, military kind of camo, it's fantastic. It's probably one of the best NATOs around. The quality, it is thicker than the normal NATO that Tudor does. The camo, it's weave, so it's, you know, it's really a piece of art. I really love it and how it wears. So anyway, things that I like about this Ranger, it's simplicity, definitely. No date. Most of the time I rather have no dates, especially because I never remember to put the date right. So that's something I usually don't do. And not having it simplify things. So it has no date. It has a lume that is not as strong as I would have wished, but anyway, that's okay. 41 millimeter that wears bigger. Why? Because the bezel is very, very thin and the dial is very, very big compared to the case. So this is a piece that were big. And that was a drawback for many Ranger fans, that the wrist was not as big to accommodate it. Add to that the fact that it had a band strap and it just wears big. Very straight lugs, no decorations here, just a little bit of polish around the outer ring of the bezel, plain dial, plain numbers, painted, but with a little bit of a relief. You can actually see that even here in the marker, you see there is like the big triangle, and inside you have like a bigger triangle dot. Why I am emphasizing on this? Because this is something that the new Ranger doesn't have. Also, there is a color difference that I would definitely show, guys, if you want to see the difference. Now it's clear. You can see that this is more kind of a light creamy color. This is definitely on the greenish, and it gives you more the sensation of well, the creamy gives you kind of a vintage vibe, by this greeny, like it's like the watch was exposed to humidity. This is the kind of feeling that it gives. It's too green. Is it something negative? Not really. When you wear this, it just gives you a vintage vibe. When you have both of them next to each other, you probably would say it was better this tone of color. But on its own, this plays perfectly fine, actually. As you see, there is a big difference obviously in the second hands. This is a total red. It gives it a more sporty look, and this is a silver one. But some other major changes that they did, and also one of the reasons that I decided to add it to my collection, even if I have the 41, was that this 39, first of all, wears a little bit on the bigger size of a 39, but the size is perfect. It's perfect even for a big wrist like mine. It just wears like a 40, and it totally fills the space, and the strap is tapered, so in theory it also looks a little bit more delicate. So definitely a good point. The bezel is bigger, and you can see that that reduces also the size of the dial, making it somehow a little bit more clear to identify immediately the time, because they go nearer to the arrow shape hours hand and the sword shape minutes hand. The numbers, even if it's greenish, I don't know, it has something about the contrast with the dial. This is darker, this is more black, this is more grayish, but it is definitely working at the end of the day. The letters, the self-winding is gone, the smiley face if you want to put it, the rotor that really has no sense, and you go back to the name, Ranger. It's a nice touch. I like the smiley self-winding, but in today's days, does it really has a meaning to say rotor and self-winding? It is just a little bit weird. Tudor Rose, I really love that. It's something that I wish they kept, but it's understandable. All their new models are going with the shield, so it's totally understandable that they just go back to the shield. They have kept the rose fall on the crown, so that's a nice touch. The crown, as you see, it's much closer to the case when closed compared to the older model. This actually sticks out like a black bay, so that's also a difference compared to the old one. And then we go to the straps and well, first of all, the details of the case. Just look at it. This is a straightforward satin case. Has no border whatsoever between the top part and the lateral side. You have the holes, the pinholes that can actually be accessed from the outside for easy change. If you see the side case of the I was going to say Explorer. Sorry guys, but it really is an Explorer at the end of the day. If you see the side case, they have actually polished a little bit the transitional part between the upper side and the lateral side, and that gives a very nice touch of light. The other thing that they have kept, as you can see, is that in the lower border of the bezel, it is also polished like the one that we see on the 41. The glass, the sapphire glass, it's a little bit higher and a little bit more dome, so it has more of that dome effect. If you guys own the 41 and you love it, I am sure you will definitely love this one too. If you can permit yourself to have both, I would definitely advise you to do that. If you cannot, I can understand you selling the 41 to get the 39. This is definitely an upgrade in many senses. So this watch, I don't have it, actually also came with a stainless steel strap, but it was just weird. It was an end link strap, so it actually didn't have the connection with the case. Yes, there were models like that in the past, so it actually was repricing from some of that, but it just didn't work. What they have done on the strap here is just perfection in terms of bringing it to 2022. You have an oyster strap style, not riveted. I'm going to show you the watch in just a second. That it's just perfect. And here I'm going to get the brother Rolex Explorer just to show you the difference. The oyster steel strap that you see in the Explorer is different, obviously, and the touch that they have done here on the end link definitely works better, reducing the size that you are going to be perceiving on your wrist. In terms of oyster strap, this is actually better quality than the one in Rolex. At least that the one that I found on the Explorer, to my opinion, has nothing to envy. And the fact that it's a 316 stainless steel, it's not something bad actually. It's more resistant to scratches than the 904 that Rolex uses. The movement that now we see here, as I was saying, the 41 is an ETA. Here we have actually one of the in-house MT5402, if I remember correctly. So the same one that you are seeing on the Black Bay 58 models. On has no date, obviously, and it's an in-house movement. Very reliable, 70 hours power reserve, silicone hairspring. You have a cost certified movement that is going to be definitely worth for the price point. This is 2,900 euros. It's probably the cheapest Tudor in-house movement at the moment. So definitely fantastic for your money if you want to go into the Tudor brand and have an iconic watch. I think this can become perfectly the new Black Bay for younger people, people getting into Tudor and knowing better the brand. What else do you have? This is I this is the cherry on top of the cake. The strap. The strap that you're getting here is the latest new Tudor strap that you actually saw on the silver Black Bay 58, that you saw on the gold one, and in the Black Bay Pro. So you have a Rolex clasp. Can we say that? It's a Rolex clasp. It's a Submariner clasp. It's what you're seeing now in the newer King. It's what you are receiving or were receiving in your Explorer, but with an extra thing that Explorer didn't have, which is what they call the T-Fit, which is nothing more than a quick adjustment system like the Submariner, as you can see here. This is just fantastic. So here we have both watches. You can compare the sizes, 39, 39. Obviously they were different. The Arabic numbers are different. They have a different vibe. At the same time, they look kind of twin brothers. Definitely something to take into consideration. So let's have a wrist shot. I usually take around 10 minutes to do my reviews. Today I'm taking a little bit longer. I think it's worth it, guys. We're talking about free watches, and I'm trying to be as quick as possible, but it's difficult not to touch some points. So just to show you what they call the T strap changing mode is actually very similar to the one used in the Rolex clasp for the Submariner. So here we have an iconic piece that you all know. I'm not going to stop discussing on that. Arrow shape, Mercedes shape, hour hands. Which one do you prefer? People will always go for the classic most of the time. They love the Rolex shape, the Mercedes shape hours hand. There is something on this arrow hand that it's not the snowflake hand that definitely engaged on me. I like it. I think it's just right for this type of watch. Let's have a wrist shot. As I was saying, my wrist is 18 centimeters. And as you can see, this is a beauty. It wears perfectly. I don't know, there's some people saying that they have found bad quality control problems with the Ranger. Mine and the ones that I saw on the authorized dealers, they were just perfectly pristine. I don't understand what they were seeing or the problems that they were having, but I will definitely investigate a little bit better. Look at that, guys. 18 centimeters wrist. This 39 millimeter Ranger wears to perfection. I just really love it. Sorry, guys. You know how enthusiastic I am. My watch channel is not about details. You can all go and Google things if you want to know the details of a watch or whatever. I try to express the feelings that the watch give me, why I collect them, why I put them in my collection, why I'm crazy enough to have two watches that are almost the same, and reasonings that I hope can help you also decide for your own collection. So I'm just talking here about things. If you want to know specs, yes, obviously this is 39 millimeters. We have already said that. 11 almost millimeters height, which makes it wear very, very flat. And as you can see, wherever you turn it around, yes, it is a Tudor. Yes, it is a Rolex brother. So anyway, guys, I think that can appeal to many people. To me, Tudor has also its own history. Even if they are trying today to fill the gaps that Rolex are leaving, They started this many years ago with the Black Bay Pepsi GMT, with today with the Pro, or the root beer GMT. You know, but that's fine. It's fine to have a lesser sister brand that is going to be filling gaps that you cannot fulfill or don't want to fulfill, or just giving a model and a brand and a quality to clients that are going to be um, just more feasible to buy it, because definitely it's more easier to buy a Tudor. I know there are wait lists for some of the models, but it's not a Rolex, guys. You will have it. You will have it very soon once you want one. So, and you can even get a discount in some places. So anyway, guys, what do you think? If you want to drop a message, I'm always happy. If you want to subscribe to the channel, more than happy to have you here. So see you back in my next video, probably very soon. So take care, and until then, please keep yourself in health and wearing your watches wherever you want. Until then, bye bye.